right, next up, we are going to discuss an interesting story that coming out of college football involving former at this point
Ah,
Tennessee quarterback Nico Iamaleava. Now, I don't know how many more times I'm gonna be able to say that without messing it
we'll
up.
just call him Nico.
Yeah, so we'll just say Nico.
Yeah.
But Nico, former quarterback at Tennessee. We're in this NIL situation. These players all now have agents and representation. He's trying to get more money, so he doesn't show up. He doesn't report to the team, and the team and the head coach decides that they're going to move on from him. And depending on which side of the aisle you fall on, some people are kind of looking at him and his side saying, what are we doing here with this system, this crazy situation? You want more money. You're trying to get paid $2-3 million, and that's not enough. So now you want to go and jump ship and not report. And then there's the other side of the conversation that is sort of saying, college football is the real problem. No oversight. They created a situation in which stuff like this persists. You have individuals who are involved in college football speaking out and how they feel about it. One of those individuals is Marcus Freeman, sharing his thoughts on what's going on. So essentially, Nico is now a free agent. He will no longer be the quarterback at Tennessee. And it seems to be over a discrepancy with money. That's what it seems to be about. He wanted more. He didn't get more. And so he just didn't show up. This says Notre Dame head coach Marcus Freeman shares honest statement on former Vols quarterback Nico Iamaleava. Okay,
Okay.
that's the last time I'm gonna give it to you. News about Nico and his representatives requesting more money and compensation went viral on Thursday, which led to Nico's no call, no show on Friday's practice. This ultimately led to Josh Heupel making a tough decision to move on from the starting quarterback. Many have started to react to this and have continued into this week's news, including Notre Dame head coach Marcus Freeman, who shared his honest opinion on the Nico situation. So this here is his entire quote, but we're just going to go ahead and play the video, and therefore I don't need to read all of this. So here is what Marcus Freeman had to say in regards to this Nico situation.
The Tennessee situation is the biggest story in college football right now. With you being a head coach at a major place like Notre Dame, what do you do to try and navigate and even avoid situations like that are, it seems like, maybe becoming more and more potential for commonplace in our sport?
Yeah, I think that was a situation that became public, but I think it happens all over the country, right? And that, I think you have representatives for players and representatives for the university that are kind of having those discussions, but that one was a public one. The reality is our players are getting compensated, deserve to get compensated. What you don't want to do is what I'm sure you've heard many coaches say is you don't want players to make a temporary decision based off a temporary situation that's going to affect them long term, right? And that transactional decisions aren't always the best ones for your future. And, I think every situation's different. Every football program's different. But at the end of the day, you want to do what's right for college football, between what's right for college football, also what's right for our players. But you don't want this public disagreement to really tarnish what's so good about our profession and our sport.
All right, so I don't know about you, but I kind of feel like he said a whole lot of nothing there. I really don't feel like he said anything. The article goes on to say Nico has yet to find a new home, as many teams are now reportedly waiting to see what his demands are. So that was Marcus Freeman's thoughts on, his assessment of this situation overall. I don't really think he said much, but what say you? What do you think about this whole situation?
I feel like, well, whenever I see Marcus Freeman, and shout out to Marcus Freeman, man. Whenever I see him, I hear the Cat Williams voice in my head, and it's a man unit. Because his hairline, he got that Steve Harvey hairline. But you know what I'm saying? The one thing that I did take from his statement was that it does happen all over college football. You know, it's constantly now with NIL, like retention is just as big as initial recruiting. So this is a thing that does happen a lot. But this is I want to say this is the first that's happened like this, where, you know, well, of course, it's the number one overall recruit coming out a couple of years ago, and he didn't have his first year playing last year. It wasn't, you know, he had his moments, but it was against lower tier competition. But when he actually played some big dogs, you know what I'm saying, he was real average to pedestrian, but you know, he was still young. So he saw the market, what was going out there for other big name quarterbacks, and he wanted to match it. And due to the fact that, you know, NIL, NCAA, or whatever, there's just no regulations on any of this stuff, he had a leg to stand on when it came to asking for more money. Me personally, you know, I'm not going to tell the kid not to ask for more money, but at the same time, I don't think this was the best play for him to be making. I think he was in a good position there at Tennessee, play one more year there. Even if they didn't want to, you know, match the money that you wanted, just play one more year there and then see what the market has to hold the following season. But, you know, the way he's playing this would, you know, I don't know if this would be his last year before he goes pro. But after looking what I saw last year, he needs at least 2 more seasons, you know, to show that he can be a starting NFL quarterback. So all in all, I think that, yes, this does happen. I agree with Marcus Freeman. This does happen a lot. But nobody's, you know, Nico's you know, if you're paying attention to college football, you know, he's a big name. There's a lot of anticipation for his season last year. As I said, it was pretty average to pedestrian, but you know, he's still a well-known name in college football. I feel like he would have had more leg to stand on if he actually produced highly, but he didn't. So I'm with Tennessee on this. I would have stood my ground like them. I would not have paid him the additional money he was asking for. I would have let him walk. And it's one of the situations where I kind of don't blame either side per se. I still don't think Nico should have did it, but I'm not going to blame him and tell him not to go get more money if there's more out there. So we'll see what happens. I don't know how this works with NIL. You dropping out, you know, with transfer portals, you dropping out this late in the game. I mean, they're already playing spring games and stuff. I don't know how that works, but you know, they're going to make something happen. Somebody going to drop the bag. Just wish he waited a year so Miami can grab him because you know we would have paid him after we done with Beck. Then we could have just picked up Nico. But what are your thoughts, man, on Sir Nico out here demanding more money from Tennessee? Tennessee not playing ball with him. Eventually, he's hitting the transfer portal, man. So what are your thoughts, man, on Nico hitting the market?
It's interesting. It reminds me, you know, in most areas of business, what is good for the paying customer is often what's not good for the company. So, like, I'll use my gym as an example. You know, or any public gym for that matter, not just my gym, any gym, but the gym is a prime example of this. What's good for the business, what's good for the company is more members, more people paying for memberships, and more people paying for classes, more people paying for training. The more people you got in the door spending money on memberships and classes and training, the better for the company. But that's also what's bad for the individual customer, because as an individual customer, more people means more crowds, which means I'm having to wait longer for equipment, which means I'm having to deal with more people on the in the weight room, on the workout floor. There's less maneuverability, less opportunity for me to move around, more waiting time, which means I'm in there longer, which means I'm spending more time there physically. So, like, what works for the company overall is counterintuitive to what's good for the individual customer. And the gym isn't the only rule to which that applies. That also applies, for example, to the grocery store. As an individual customer, you may go to a grocery store nearby that gets very light foot traffic, either because it's out the way, or it may be out the way, or maybe because of its location, maybe because it's new. But for various reasons, you might shop somewhere where the in-store traffic is light, which is a pleasant experience for you because you can drive into the parking lot, right? You get to drive into the parking lot, find a parking spot relatively quickly. You can walk into the store. You don't have to worry about whether something that you need is out of stock.
No, never.
And then when you're ready to check out, you don't have to wait in a long line to check out. You can just walk right up, check your stuff out, and you're gone.
Yeah, man.
You get back into the car that you were able to find an easy parking space for, get in there and drive back home. And because there's light traffic, you're not dealing with traffic jams and people. But is that good for the actual market that you shopped in? No. What they want is more people. They want more customers. They want higher foot traffic in the building, which means bad for you. More traffic, harder to find a parking space. Maybe you don't find what you're looking for. It takes you longer to check out. But the supermarket loves that. That's more revenue, more money. They're doing better for themselves. So oftentimes in pretty much most areas of industry, what's good for the company isn't what's good for the individual customer. I think that is symbolic of why NIL and player empowerment is such a contentious situation with college football, and why something like this is rubbing people the wrong way. Because for fans of that program, they're now out of a starting quarterback who was highly recruited. So they don't even know what the viability of their program is going to look like going into next season, because what they thought was going to happen with their quarterback is now not going to happen because of money. But said money is good for him. Him being able to utilize that leverage is good for him individually. And one can argue that that's good for college football overall, because with these guys bouncing around from one team to the next and from one program to the next, now you have sort of a stratification of programs that have some kind of a relevance. So astute people and people in the media would suggest that's good for college football overall. But is what's good for college football overall good for the fan of Tennessee at the current moment? No, it's not. It's not good for fans of individual programs who have to deal with this topsy-turvy situation of players bouncing around and moving around and demanding this and wanting out. And now we're getting to the point where we're going to start having holdouts. And
holdout, yeah,
it's going to be holdouts and contract disputes. So, I don't think anyone's right or wrong in this situation. I think college football, much like everything else, has exposed itself now clearly for being all about self-interest. It was always that way before, but it was sort of covered up underneath all of this BS red tape. Yeah, it was covered up underneath all of this BS red tape of amateurism.
Yeah.
But now that we've been able to unravel all of that, because we see it for what it is, which is it's just another moneymaker, just like anything else. Now it's all about self-interest. I don't know moving forward how one can continue to even be a fan of individual programs when that is the reality.
It's getting hard.
Because from one year to the next, you don't even know what your team, what your program is going to look like. You don't know what its viability is. So I don't think anyone is right or wrong. I don't blame Nico, and I don't blame Tennessee either. I think everyone did what they felt was in their best interest, which is what professional sports, which is what college football is, has become. It's been all about what is in everyone's best individual interest. So, I don't really know, man. I don't really know what this is going to look like, but I do believe that overall, it is the individual fan of the programs that are being shortchanged in this.
Mhm.
And unless you are a fan of Michigan, Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia, who else? Because I can't even put programs like Tennessee in there. I can't put programs in there like Baylor, USC, any of these other programs. I can't put them in there because they ain't been competitive for a while when it comes to the national championship scene.
Mhm.
Clemson, even my school, Florida State, where we been at. So you got to be one of the true cabal blue bloods.
Yeah.
If it's not Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, if you ain't one of them, you're pretty much not going to know what you got from one year to the next. And I hear everybody on TV talking about how much better college football is. And I get it. If the numbers say the ratings are better, who am I to argue? But as a fan of Florida State football, I would prefer for my team to be better. I would prefer for my team to be better. I enjoy watching all of the games during the season. But if you give me my choice of my team being good or Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan always being good, I'd rather my team be good.
Mhm.
So, I think college football is undergoing a facelift. I don't think anyone knows how to handle it. It's completely and utterly deregulated. No one has a plan for how to fix it or make it better. Whatever a proposed solution for it is, it's going to hurt somebody else. So whatever the solution is that's supposed to make it better for the programs, probably going to hurt the sport overall. Any proposed solution that makes it better for the overall sport, probably going to hurt the program and the fans. And anything that is proposed that helps the fans, probably going to hurt the sport and the programs. I think that in any scenario, something loses. I don't know how they can develop any sort of solution in which all three of those areas win. And I think that's the biggest concern.
Yeah, that's a good point, man. And me personally, bro, like I'm not a fan of Tennessee. Of course, how can I? But I do like their coach Josh Heupel. I do like him. And I like Nico, man. So I wanted them to muck things up in the SEC, but it doesn't look like that's going to be able to happen. Who knows? I mean, you are dealing with Josh Heupel, so they could just plug and play with whoever the hell. So we'll see what happens, man. But yeah, man, I'm just a fan of college football. Of course, I love my Hurricanes, man, but I love college football. And yeah, this is getting a little weird for me. I don't know what's going on anymore. And so, sometimes I look in the transfer portal, man, I'm like, this is like your 15, dude. It's some dude. It's like, this is like your 15.
Yeah.
Like, how is this even going on? Like, how are you okay with that? But he's doing it, And so it's a little weird for me, man. So I still like loyalty. I still like loyalty. There's some guys that have been playing for the same program for 3 years. Hell, I commend those people. But when they leave for the fourth year, it's like, come on, man, you gonna wear somebody else's uniform, bro? In conference, like
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We have to really retrain our brain
it's
to
weird, man.
think differently about this stuff. Like,
But I enjoyed the slavery of it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I think college football, funnily enough, is one aspect of westernized exploitation.
Yeah.
That we were cool with, and now that it's over and it looks different, it's just not as fun.
Yeah,
it's not as fun. I'm with you. I'm gonna be here regardless. I'm gonna watch the games regardless. I'm gonna enjoy it regardless. I've always said, man, the fall is the best time of the year because you got NFL and college football going at the same time. And then the NBA starts like in late October. So you got all three of those going on at the same time. It's like the best time of the year. So I'm going to be watching this stuff regardless. But yeah, college football for me is just starting to get very weird, but I can't get totally mad because I'm pro-labor. So like as a person who at his core is pro-labor, I'm not too upset because I like the fact that these guys are saying, screw you, pay me. You're not going to make billions of dollars off of the work that I put in, and I don't see a piece of that.
That's
So
fair.
I get it. I'm pro-labor. So I'm not ready to blow everything up. I'm not that upset. But at the same time, man, like I want to know what I'm getting as a fan of a team from one year to the next. And that's over. Those days are over.
Yep.
Those days are over and done with. And I miss that. I do miss that. I miss knowing that I got Jameis Winston as the quarterback at Florida State for at least 2 to 3 years.
Yep.
You know, like I miss that. Like I know we're going to contend. Now it's like the quarterback might be out of here.
He might leave.
He
might be done, dude.
So it's like it's become so transactional that it's just weird to me. It's just weird. It's like relationships. Like I was always accepting of the idea that as the man in this equation, I'm gonna be putting something out. But now in 2025, it's just in my face that I gotta pay for it. I don't like that. I don't want that. I don't want to be a part of it. So I just rebuke it. I don't want to be a part of it. I don't want to be a part of it. It is disgusting. So I don't know, man. And the thing is, it's just going to continue to get more transactional because these guys now have agents. Some of these programs are hiring full-on general managers. I think Alabama hired an actual general manager for the football program. So this stuff is going to jump the shark to the nth degree, you know. And I, you know, for me, it's like, you know, I just kind of throw my hands up. I guess, well, I'm going to have to just transition to no longer being a fan of individual programs and just watch the games. And I don't know, maybe that's what I'll have to accept.
Yeah. I don't know how that works either. I think I just have to just watch, man. I don't know. Because you know, like I mentioned, like I like the coach for Tennessee, and I like their Nico. So you know, I guess you got to refall in love every year.
Yeah,
which is weird. I'm not used to that either. But it is what it is, man. I'll get used to it, man. I'm glad these guys are getting paid. I just wish it was we're still on the ground floor with this. So hopefully there's some type of structure that comes out down the line where things are making sense and people wouldn't be in this position. Because I would want him to be at a program where he can learn the playbook and be in a good position. Now he's on the outs, got to find somewhere. Now this season might be a grasping at straws ass season for him. Like, it's weird, man. I don't like that. So I want something with a little bit more structure in these guys. Then I'll be a little bit more comfortable with it. So, but I don't know if the NCAA is in a rush to do that. So we'll see what happens with it, man. But I agree with you, bro. I'm not mad at either party here. I think that this was just both sides looking after themselves.
Yeah. That's the name of the game. Self-interest is the name of the game. College football has always been about self-interest, but it was just shrouded. It's no longer shrouded now, so it's out in the open. But what it does for the individual fan, hey man, look, I'm pro-labor. I'll always be pro-labor. But there's just something about being a fan of these programs. There's an aspect of pageantry when it comes to college football that I personally am not ready to relinquish. But it looks like I'm not going to have a choice.
Yep.
So, yeah. Shouts out to Nico, man. Get your money, bro.
Yeah.